Hello everyone, Vampire218 here, and today I'm bringing you the Week 2 recap of the MCL Moon Conference. And today I'm joined by Levenant, aka War for 120. Say hello.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Levenant, aka War for 120, back in the house with the dirty man that is the vampire. And I love him so much. We're going to have some fun today and learn what happened in Week 2.
Absolutely, and I'm also joined today by Commander Burgess. Please say hello.
Heyo, Commander Burgess here, aka Ultimate Sniper Do I.
And both of their channels' links will be in the description. Please make sure to check both of them out, as they both also do Pokemon Draft League content and stuff. But let's jump right into the things with the first match of the week, which is Dark versus Psychic. And Burgess, could you bring us over the box scores real quick?
All right. Here.
Well, I mean, guys, first off, if we look over this situation up here, you know, Pollitt brought a really strong team trying to overcome that psychic team. You know, you think Psychic Dark would have a natural type advantage, but look, Sharpedo, Mega Sableye, Crocodile, Tyranitar, Weavile, and Bisharp, bringing a solid lineup. Crocodile and Bisharp picked up 2 kills and didn't falter, and then of course Mega Sableye and Weavile went to work as well, getting a kill. On the Psychic type, you know, Sky did what he could. He brought Hoopa Unbound, he brought Mega Gardevoir, Gallade, Starmie, and Mr. Mime, with really only Hoopa Unbound and Medicham actually doing any kind of work in a 2-0 loss for the Psychic type. But, you know, Vampire, what did you see there, buddy?
Well, I mean, I want to address the low-key, completely illegal Hoopa Unbound bring.
Well, you know, we talked about this. Sky didn't really understand what was going on with Hoopa Unbound. It can be very confusing if you're used to seeing just regular Hoopa and OU and think, oh, man, you know, maybe I can bring Unbound. But at the end of the day, it didn't change the outcome.
I know, and I think that's really what mattered, is that it didn't change the outcome. Had it, like, I mean, what Hoopa Unbound did there, easily a regular Hoopa could have done. And I think had it changed the outcome, we would definitely have to have addressed it more, maybe, you know, see what goes on. Because there have been other things like this, but luckily nothing so far in either of the leagues has affected the match enough that, you know, we have to actually address it and be like, oh, hey, you know, this completely was an issue. So I'm really glad that that didn't matter. But, you know, it was a very good match. It was, you know, it was very close, I think, too. It wasn't probably the closest, but, you know, Psychic almost won at the end. Psychic, you know, it turned it around, and I think had Psychic maybe done a little bit better prep, they could have turned it around a little bit better. I mean, I understand the Mega Gardevoir, but...
Mega Gardevoir you gotta bring. But in all honesty, I would have brought Mega Gardevoir and Gardevoir itself's Choice Scarfed. And here's why. Look, it's dark, okay? You know, I get it. You know, you're gonna want to spam certain kinds of moves here, but you know
Moon Blast, Focus Blast, etc.
Exactly. You know, but you could have brought. I mean, I get it. You want the Mega Gardevoir for the pixelated Hyper Voice, but you bring regular Gardevoir Scarfed, and you actually win the match, in my opinion.
I don't know, because I agree with the regular Gardevoir, absolutely, but I'm almost trying to think. You know, what about Mega Gallade or Mega Medicham? You know, we saw, didn't he bring that week 1 or something? Was it him?
He may have been proxied for that week.
I don't know. I want to make sure of this. You know, he did bring the Mega Medicham week 1 against the Flying type, and I think that's, we definitely criticized him on that. So it's really weird to see him not bring the Mega Medicham or Mega Gallade this week, when I believe they are they faster than Mega Gardevoir?
I don't know off the top of my head, but the real champion right here, let's get on to the other side of the battle. And the real thing that I was really interested by is the fact that, you know, Bisharp was able to do, once again, work. We've seen Bisharp actually overperform in this league so far, and I'm starting to wonder if Bisharp from monotype leagues is turning into a Tier 1 Mon, and if there is such a thing as a Tier 1 Mon in a mono league.
Huh. I completely agree with you on that. I mean, I think, what was it, 6 kills last week or something?
He had 5 the week before, but without a death, and then this match right here, he had 2. in this match without a death. And of course, Bisharp being a dual type Mon shows up in a lot of matches, but it's definitely putting in work on both types.
And it's really interesting for me because I, as the Steel type, have not used Bisharp. And, I never really thought to because, it's very stereotypical of what a Steel type already has in other types. And it has that quad fighting weakness. But, seeing how Pollitt's actually, put this together, it's quite interesting that, Bisharp might be something I eventually bring in a certain match.
Right. And that's what I'm really nervous about. There are some Mons that are proving to be almost overpowered for this setup. We've seen Volcanion put in some serious work on both sides of the field. That's just one of those kind of things. But you know what?
I think there's a player type that wants to argue against Volcanion's superiority.
Well,
I still love
Volcanion. So my week 4 match then.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just saying, we're talking about what Mons are overpowered or what. But let's move on to the next match. Vampire, what's the next match in this list?
It is Fire versus Flying. If someone could bring us over those box scores real quick.
I'm on it.
Okay.
Here we are. Fire versus Flying.
What are you seeing right there? Axeman brought a good team. Jolts brought a good team. What happened on this match right there, Burgess?
Looks like Ante put in a lot of work. Same with Darmanitan. Hell, Infernite managed to get a kill.
How many kills did Entei and Darmanitan end up getting there? I think it was 3 for Entei, 2 for Darmanitan. On the flying side, we see that Dragon Knight and Gliscor both put in some serious work, and Landorus T really was also a hero there for a little bit, but just didn't work out. But Vampire, what happened in the match that kind of got you thinking to yourself, man? Well, first off, this was a great match. First off, right?
Absolutely. This is actually tied with a couple others for one of the closest matches. It was just an overall great match, and arguably Axeman at the beginning played pretty poorly to be perfectly honest. You got to understand my love for Heatran here. He completely used Heatran wrong. He threw Heatran in intentionally just to get a death, and I think he was testing to see. I'm not sure what he was testing because I believe Gliscor naturally outspeeds Heatran, so his Heatran couldn't have been scarfed. Because that...
No, it was... Yeah, it was not scarfed there.
I don't know. It's just really weird for me to see someone... He sacked it for absolutely no reason whatsoever. He could have easily thrown out Rotom Heat, and with the Levitate, you lived an Earthquake. And that's the
thing that I caught in this match, though, Vampire, that really threw me off, obviously being Fire versus Flying, Rule 1 is Stealth Rocks are coming up for both sides. So, and that happened. Stealth Rocks came up for both sides. Not immediately, as the Fire type kind of staggered a little bit in putting the Stealth Rocks up, but they were both up for most of the match. What really confused me was that Jolts made a couple of mistakes. Whenever rocks are up, you cannot play the switch in, switch out game. Mm-hmm. You have to back off that game and play a regular battle strategy. You cannot play the switch in, switch out game.
Well, not with these types.
Exactly. You have to straight up, and when Stealth Rocks are up, you have to play, I got this Mon in, he's locked in, I'm going until he dies. We're going Brawler style. You have to go Brawler style. And the thing is that Fire out-brawls Flying in this situation. It really does. Or at least the Mons that they brought. That's why Darmanitan won this match.
Absolutely. And, I really do have to question Axeman's Infernate Brain, too, to be honest. Because Infernate has a natural weakness to flying. It's pretty fast, but I don't know. It just
does get access to Thunder Punch.
It does get access to Thunder Punch.
It didn't use it, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird.
And I'm not sure if it had it, even.
I didn't see it. I saw Flare Blitz, I saw Mach Punch, and it may have been its Rock Thrower also.
I think it was also something with rocks, too.
Right. And that's kind of the thing, is that, look, you can have plenty of fun with this, and you can win, even when you play poorly. But, had Jolts not sacked off his Landorus rather than switching out and turning it into a switch in death, dude, Jolts would have had this match won.
Oh, absolutely. There was some...
Yeah, he would have.
This match could have easily gone either way. But let's jump into the next match here, which I believe is Ground versus Electric. The match that was played earlier today, actually.
Yeah, and that one was a fun one as well. What happened in that one, Burgess?
Well, judging on the KOs, it looks like Flygon absolutely wrecked Electric. Aside from Excadrill.
Oh, that should be
and Mega Swampert and Donphan getting kills, respectively. Hell, Pilot Swan and Garchomp weren't even used.
So how many kills did Flygon get? I think it was 3 right there with Excadrill, Swampert, and Donphan getting 1. You go over to the Electric side, really only Rotom Wash and Rotom C ended up getting a kill right there. So, I mean, we saw some interesting stuff go down right there. But Vampire, what did you see in the match?
I gotta say, it was poor prep on the Electric part. And, you know, my reasoning for this is absolutely 100% of his mons are immune to ground, which is nice. It was too gimmicky, though. You know, Rotom Cut, Rotom Wash, and Electros had Levitate. And going up against ground, you're going to see Mold Breaker. You know, you're going to almost definitely see Mold Breaker from Excadrill. There's a chance you'll see Sand Rush, but, I mean, I don't think he would. I can't see him having brought Sand Rush to this match when it naturally has immunities to the Electric Stabs. And, like, his entire team has natural immunities to Electric Stabs. I would have think, you know, Mold Breaker is pretty key. And not only that, he brought 3 mons that share a weakness of Rock, which is really odd to me. So,
and the thing is that, let's be honest with us right now. Ground and Rock are so similar at times that you almost wonder how they're still individual types at times. At times. And what I'm saying by that is that if you look at Generation 1 and Generation 2, Ground type and Rock type mons were in a lot of ways many times in unison. For instance, you had Golem. Golem is a Ground Rock. These are the kind of things that I'm saying is that
basically.
Yeah, most Ground type mons are basically Rock type mons also. They all have Rock type coverage for the most part. They all have, you know, the same type of movesets. So you have to be aware of that and not bring it. You've got to make sure that the Electric types you're bringing are going to be able to withstand both of them, which I will give it to him that that's a very hard situation to prep for. It is. But there were ways around it.
I mean, it's hard to a degree, but he could have easily brought more, you know, better than 3 Rotoms and 2 Thunderuses. He could have brought one Thundurus.
For instance, where was Lantern in this match? Lantern could have put in some serious work right there, at least in my opinion.
I mean, I think he's going with the Rotom Wash over Lantern, so I completely understand that. And I can even
but he still has 3. But he still has 3
besides,
more, 2 more Lanterns. He could have. Sorry, 2 more Rotoms that he could have replaced. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, besides, if he bought if the Los Angeles Gyarados bought Torterra, Rotom W would have been useless.
Well, you're right there, but at the same time, he didn't. And you got to prep. And I know that's scary. You got to think about, well, what if he does? What if he doesn't? But at the end of the day, you have to just trust your gut. And I think he already had it prepped for with the Thundurus Therian, because the Thundurus Therian, I believe, gets access to. I think it gets access to a couple of strong fire moves. But the point is that. You know, this was a match that was definitely, you know, a tough one, obviously, for Electric going in. And look, you're never gonna have an easy one. I mean, I got swept 6-0 in my match this week, because I played chess with the wrong person to play chess with. But at the same time, you've got to be able to get around it. You know, you've got to be able to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. Electros was a solid pick, and Electros was going to be using. Scarfed and be using some water moves right there. But I get it. You know, it was a tough match, and Flygon was the excellent pick to block it out, and so was Swampert. But man, I felt bad. I felt bad for the Borussia Dorantans right there. But it happens.
Absolutely. You know, it's a hard matchup, but you know, I gotta think that there could have been better prep on the Electric's part. But let's move into the next one of Steel versus Bug. And Commanderberg is going to bring me over the box scores real quick.
All right.
I think I smell a whooping right there. Did somebody give somebody a whooping in this match?
Good on you, Vampire.
I'm only saying it because Vampire is actually in the call, and he was the player in this match.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like in this match, Burgess, what do we see here? We see that Vampire put in some work with some Heat Train and some Mega Steelix, didn't he?
Yeah, and he also got a KO with Skarmory, surprisingly.
Ooh, get me that Skarmory kill. You look over at the Bug side, Heracross put in some work. Mega Pinsir surprisingly did not get any kills, and neither did Scizor as well. You know,
Scizor actually got 1 kill.
Scizor did get 1 kill, but it didn't do the work that he needed it to do. And that's what I was trying to say right there. My apologies. If you look over this though, Rampire, you know, I see that the Moon Conference bug owner really has a kind of obsession with the 3 sexy bugs, if you know what I'm saying. The 3 sexy bugs that have mega evolutions. He's really in love with Pinsir. He's in love with Pinsir, Heracross, and Scizor. He's been bringing them to most matches, but he's still trying to rock the double stallers.
Absolutely.
With Galvantula and Shuckle. And what do you see with that? What's wrong with that?
Well, the problem that's wrong with that is Steel is willing to outstall you. You have nothing against Steel as a bug type. You're not going to Toxic them, so you're not going to do that. You don't get access to, you know, Wisp, so you're not going to burn them. So you have no way of just stalling them with Shuckle and... is it Scolipede, I believe?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to stall them.
The only chance they have is probably paralyzing them with Thunder Wave, but even then, Mega Steelix could just come in and be immune to it.
Even paralyzing, it's not going to do damage. They're doing so little
damage.
Hell,
even the rare freeze.
Well, yeah, rare freeze. But even so, they're not... The whole idea of that stall is that Toxic's going to, you know, tick up and put you on a 4 or 5 turn time limit. That's the only problem, but Steel's good with that for this generation. So, what really I think is important to note in this match is that Heracross that Heracross actually almost won him the game. You know, if you watch over that Heracross being scarfed, I was completely unprepared for that, and after webs went down, I couldn't compete with that, so I almost lost. He picked up 2 really good kills with that before I was able to bring in Skarmory to soak, hit, and kill him, so... He definitely almost won that match, and that's what's really scary to me.
Here's my question to you, though. Would Mega Heracross have been a better play than Mega Pinsir here?
Absolutely not.
Just absolutely not. Okay, please tell me why.
You lose the scarf.
You lose the scarf. Okay.
And
you're right. You do lose that.
Is going to do so much more work than Mega Pinsir. Mega Heracross getting those stab close combats was OHKOing my Mons. You know, it popped Excadrill's sash, and I had thought, you know, my Excadrill was scarfed as well, but because of the webs, I didn't outspeed. So I'm sitting there going for my Swords Dance. I'm dead. Kills my Probopass because I can't do anything else with it. You know, had Skarmory not been a flying type and had only taken neutral to that close combat, he would have won the game right there.
Yeah, it was definitely obviously a tough one for the Bug team to going into it. I was kind of surprised, you know, just a little bit that I didn't see, you know, a couple bugs that have a little bit extra oomph in them. But hey, you know, that's just my personal weird opinion. The Scolipede obviously was a great bring in theory. But let's move on to the next one though, Vampire. What's the next one on the plate? Let's get some more weapons on the
the next one is Water versus Fairy. And Commander, could you please bring us over the box score real quick?
Just did.
Quick. Did he just say just did?
Oh god, that's Slurpuff sleep.
Oh, Slurpuff. I actually got asked by Reggie this week why I didn't have this Slurpuff in the sweep decks that I do on my channel, and I told him it's because you already have it up on YouTube. But no, you know, here's the thing: is that you know, it was a straight up 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, and it was just it happens, man. It happens in this league. And the thing was that Hunt Beast Hunter had no clue what he was getting into. Do you remember whenever we were doing our very first analysis video of Vampire, and we were talking about how weakness policy was gonna kick some chicken sandwiches in this league, right?
Absolutely, and on the right mon, a weakness policy is gonna put in work. You know, anything was sturdy, and I am really surprised that it did so much work on Slurpuff because, you know, you gotta think Slurpuff's not the best fairy type.
It really
But,
isn't.
You know, seeing this, I actually have to ask, you know, what did I actually just watch? That was a 7-turn match.
Yeah, 3 months resisted. Empoleon, Tentacruel,
Everything.
Volcanion. How the heck did it sweep through that?
Well, what happened is that you got to understand the Unburden ability, which I had to actually look this up because I've never played with Slurpuff. I never had played with Slurpuff. Now, granted, I got 6-0'd by a Slurpuff in a different league under different circumstances one time, but, you know, Slurpuff was just one of those that, you know, gets unburdened. That unburdened, just so you know, with weakness policy, you're getting your attack, your special attack, and then with unburden, you're getting your speed raised by 2 tiers.
Yep.
2 tiers, which means that it's not it outspeeds a lot of mons that are scarfed at that point.
Yep.
Which is just insane.
And it actually hurt a little bit to watch this because it shouldn't have happened, but there was nothing that could be done about it.
It was one of those where you just point, click, take your whooping, and just call your day. You know exactly.
I'm actually still astounded of what happened. I'm not sure what happened. It's like one of those videos you watch where it's just so weird you don't actually understand what you just watched. I think that's what occurred for me.
I'm pretty sure by the time Hunter lost, he was still thinking he was battling. I mean, and that's not a diss against Hunter. It was just one of those where you get a match that fast going, you look up afterwards and you're just like, what just happened?
Well, I mean, I think it also has to do with the fact that, you know, after that match, Hunter had to take like a 2-week vacation.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think he actually realized, you know, he had lost at that point. You know, he just was like, oh, I'm going to take a vacation. And then he, like, maybe halfway through the vacation, did I just get 6-0'd by a Slurpuff?
Yeah. I mean, that would throw anybody off going into vacation. That's like a hot shower with a steel wire brush to scrape all the skin off and just, you know, call yourself a different name for a while kind of shower. Where you're just like, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. You know, one of those kind of showers.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. I mean, I'm scared of Slurpuff now. Is that odd that I'm scared of Slurpuff now?
I mean, I don't think it should have happened.
Yeah, you should be.
Because it was close. Like, that Slurpuff, did it live on 2% or something? It definitely could have died. So, I think it was a risk bringing it, and had it not paid off, we wouldn't be talking about it at all, but because it paid off, holy moly.
The thing is that, sadly, I don't think any other Watermon, after the initial set-off, does any Watermon, to your knowledge, get the access to the Bullet Punch?
Oh, I'm not sure if they get Bullet Punch.
Because that's really the only way that I could have seen him getting around that at that point. Because
they do get,
unless
some of the monsters do get Aqua Jet, like Empoleon.
Right. Well, Aqua Jet's good, but the thing is, he needed to be able to hit hard to get it on the ground after the unburden and everything else happened.
Yeah,
that's
I can't
what
think of one.
So, I mean, granted, the Aqua Jet would have gotten the first hit, and enough of those would have worked. But he needed something to be able to get it on the ground right then. And that's why I was curious if anything had Bullet Punch. But that's enough. That's enough beating the horse right there. That horse has been dead for 5 weeks. So let's move on to the next match.
Of Fighting versus Poison. This is
what happened in this match? This one was a tight match and was, in my opinion, you know, definitely a match worthy of being honored as a possible, you know, match of the week in this conference. Definitely one of those that I think both of those coaches could make it to the Master Bowl.
Absolutely. I mean, Scolipede putting in work here, and I think that's why. The Bug coach really wants Scolipede to work for him, because I believe this is the second time we've seen Vandal bringing that Scolipede, if I'm correct.
Well, the scary thing about this Scolipede is obviously, you know, number one idea with Scolipede is, you know, you bring the speed boost Scolipede with the intentions to pass. And that actually screws over a lot of coaches because I've seen it a lot of times where somebody does a complete mistake and forgets to put an attack on Scolipede. I've seen it happen a lot. You know, Chimpact in the GBA lost this week because he didn't put an attack on Scolipede. You can have all the speed in the world if you can't attack something, you're not going to win.
But besides, something with acrobatics is coming right at you. You're basically fracked.
Exactly. But here's the thing, though, is that, look, you know, in this match right here, you know, obviously Vandal knows what to do right there. He had a very broad move set. I think he used he had a bug attack on there like X Scissor or Mega Horn, and then he also had an Earthquake, which I was really excited to see the Earthquake on there. But what did you see, Vampire?
Well, I mean, you gotta first of all acknowledge that Vandal is a team builder for the GBA, and
Exactly.
also floats at what, like 1800 in Smogon tiers.
He does. He's a little bit overpowered.
I mean, to a degree.
Very much.
I believe we've seen him. He's not unbeatable, but he's definitely, he's going to be bringing the completely on par prep that, even in a, if he wins in a match where he shouldn't win, it's because he brought the exact team he would need to win. And he got exactly what he needed to do. He's not making the misplays that many other people will make. And, even myself, I still catch myself making some major misplays. But when you watch a Vandal X battle, they're not nearly as apparent as in other battlers. And I think that's what's scariest is...
If he's making a misplay, it's one of those where you could easily argue it away, saying it was a prediction. It was a prediction choice.
Absolutely.
And that's one of those things, is that, you can say, you can have misclicks, and personally, I will, even if I ever do misclick, I won't call it a misclick in any type of situation, because really a misclick is just me just making a mistake. If I ever say, what I'm saying? Like, I believe that most misclicks are, I mean, they do exist, but I believe that most misclicks are straight up, brain farts. That's really what I feel like most of them are.
Brain fart.
Brain fart.
I mean,
they're not misclicks.
You look at the team that got brought, I feel like Fighting... I'm not sure. I feel like Fighting might have been able to bring a little, like, better than Infernape. But at the same time, I can't really think of a Mon right now that would fit better than Infernape, because he already has the Mega Gallade and the Medicham. So I'm just trying to think of something else that's going to, get in there and do the work. Because Infernape has that speed and hits pretty hard, so it just feels like an odd bring to me for in the Infernape.
Yeah, right.
Let's move on to the next one. I believe it's Normal versus Dragon.
All right, so in this match right here, we see this was Irish Emerald really coming back in the paint. Hardcore, going for it all. And, he played the right move. Zygarde was able to get 3 kills. Latios' lead Mon in this battle ended up getting 2 kills. And if we go over to the next area, we see Mega Lopunny tried, and Mega Lopunny fell down and hurt her knee.
Only Dinu and Ursaring got kills on Oakland Aerodactyls.
And you know what I saw in this match right here that really kind of confused me? It was one of those kind of things where, I saw Mega Lopunny coming out way too early. Too early. Mega Lopunny is not an early early Mega that you bring out in this situation, at least from my opinion.
So
it's a closer. You bring her out dead last. You bring her out. You run a fake out quick attack, or last resort set, or you go for the fighting set, which is the fake out high jump kick and drain punch set. And you know what? We didn't see that.
We didn't need to, though. I feel like Normal had to poor prep this match, to be honest. The Wigglytuff, great bring. I can understand the Snorlax. I can't really see the Linoon, Ursaring, or Chansey. And I think that there were better Mons that could get brought with better coverage than those 3. I completely understand Snorlax.
Like Diggersby?
Diggersby maybe. But I'm thinking of something that's going to have access to like those ice moves. And I can't even think of a normal type offhand. But I know that there's going to be, some that are going to get a good special attack other than the Linoon, Ursaring, and Chansey. He didn't need Chansey if he had Snorlax and Wigglytuff. He has a defensive core right there. He was playing too defensive, and I think that's what got him. You can't do that with Dragon. Dragon's going in hyper hard, and you're not going to defend against it. You have to, beat it. So
yeah. And the thing is that Linoon Belly Drum set, I was very excited to see that. It's very original. But again, it was one of those where I felt he was bringing a strong Mon too early. That's what I felt. It was one of those where I just feel like he was bringing something strong too early. Yeah, I would have saved that for either the very, very first Pokemon or the very last Pokemon. That's just what I feel. But what do you think, Vampire?
I'm gonna have to actually edit the footage of this out because I'm actually looking up the normal type right now because, I mean, I gotta think again. Something on the normal roster has to get some sort of ice move, right? So Wigglytuff, absolutely great bring, tanky as could be, so it's gonna be able to take that as well. But apart from that, it's just really odd for him to not bring, where's the Porygon? Where's the Porygon? The Porygon Z. They have access to Ice Beam.
Yeah, where's Porygon 2 to an extent?
Bigger than that, I mean, there are plenty of normal type Mons that I believe have access to things like Play Rough. Am I correct?
Some of them, yeah.
I feel like there was a lack of fairy presence in his team. I mean, granted, Wigglytuff was there, but if you're going to use Wigglytuff in this match, you have to bring a baton passing Smeargle or a baton passing regular Lopunny in order to do.
I think the ice thing's.
Oh, he could have bought Mega Audino of all things.
Yeah, actually, Mega Audino. Yeah, absolutely, because there is another bulky fairy type. Get rid of Linoon for Mega Audino, bring regular Lopunny as your passer type thing, and bring Porygon 2 and Porygon Z, because looking at the team, there are 3 quad weaknesses to ice. I see.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's huge. That he didn't explore that.
And I think it was just an idea on the normal type team that they wanted to outmuscle the opponent, and you can't outmuscle Dragon. You can't outmuscle Dragon. It's very tough.
You can, but it's not going to happen unless you're bringing a heat set. And I can tell you right now, Linoon and Chansey, they aren't doing that.
They can try, but they're not going to.
Exactly. So let's go into the next match of Rock versus Grass.
All right. So let's move on there. What happened actually? What happened? What happened, Burgess? If we look at that match in Rock versus Grass, we see that actually we have a weakness win right here with the Rock team. Correct?
Yes.
Well, what happened in that match? Who got the kills?
Most KOs. It's actually a tie between Crustle and Macargo. Mega Dactyl and Tyrantrum, respectively, both have 1 kill.
All right. So on top of that, what else happened on there? We look at the Grass side. We see that Shaven put in 2 kills. We see that Whimsicott got a kill as well. But there was just some lackluster stuff in there, and really, in my opinion, Vampire, there was one major obvious thing that really just got me. And what did you see that kind of just, that kind of made you go, did that really happen?
I want to say Sunny Day.
I want to say Sunny Day also. Tangrowth, look, Sunny Day is a great move for the Grass type. It is a great move for the Grass type. It allows you to throw out the best Grass move that doesn't lower your stats in one turn.
And in certain matches, it's great.
And it's in regular matches, it's great.
Not even in regular. In certain monotype matches, it's going to be great, but just not this one because.
And it would have been good in this one, but the situation was very bad, and it cost Tangrowth its life.
Yeah, and you can't.
And that basically cost R2 the match.
He threw the Tangrowth in front of he threw the Tangrowth out there, and he had the Tangrowth standing in front of Macargo, which is probably his best Mon to take a Macargo blast, unless you had a Mega Sceptile or threw out Mega Venusaur. So it was one of his best things that he had to take those fire moves.
Absolutely.
But the issue was he put the Sunny Day up, which I understand is theory, but you cannot do that in front of a fire type Mon, because you basically just gave him an attack boost to kill you. And I believe Macargo picked up a second kill after that.
And it's really sad to see because, Grass had a poor prep. Grass had a lot of mons that it shouldn't have brought. It shouldn't have brought Mega Venusaur. It shouldn't have brought regular Sceptile. It should have brought Mega Sceptile. Get rid of the Venusaur. I could see Sawsbuck going. And, where is something that's going to actually hit the rock type? And there
Torterra.
Torterra again, or Torterra's ground grass. So, I mean, it puts in work. But at the same time, Rock could have brought anything with ice coverage, and that would be an issue. But even so, Rock is bringing very odd mons, and it's working. And that's what's really scary, is because it's bringing these mons, it clearly understands its type. You're not going to be bringing a Macargo and a Crustle and like an Armaldo and an Aggron unless you understand, the diversity of your type. And it's really scary to see that, because we're seeing someone who clearly understands their type winning, because they know the limitations and the strengths. And I think that's what's scariest to me, because that's the kind of stuff that we'll see make the Master Ball.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is that people have been bashing Rock in both conferences all the time, and the truth is Rock is Bay. If you really work around the typing and understand what you've got, what's going to come against you each week, but you also know what's not going to come against you each week. And that's where you have the advantage, because you know exactly what's going to play against you. But because Rock is so secular and so just in its own kind of core, what's going to be able to be brought against you each week in terms of it narrows the mon field against you, but for itself. If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
Prime example of this was Steel versus Rock in the Sun Conference. They brought a pretty first team. But
they did, and it worked out great. And the Grass team, I feel for R2. He stepped up, and just so he built that team in about 45 minutes. I asked him to take over for PCM, who had some people end up finding themselves in too many leagues. And so, PCM felt like he needed to drop out, because monotype does require a lot more prep to be successful at first. But once you start understanding your type a bit more, the more you put in early, the less you have to put in later on, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
But R2, he built that team in 30 minutes.
And I learned that the hard way after week 1.
The thing is, though, there are two mons that I would have brought in this match that did not see action. I would have brought Superior. All right, Contrary Superior, and I would have led with Contrary Superior.
Scarf Contrary Superior.
What?
Scarf Contrary Superior.
Not Scarfed. I would have done a focus sash instead. And the reason why is because, like I said, in case of the incident where he had the Macargo coming out there, or Citrus Berry, one of those two, Citrus Berry or Focus Sash. But then on top of that,
Ludicolo.
Yeah, and Ludicolo would have been a great bring here. But also there was I would have, instead of Mega Venusaur, I would have brought Mega Sceptile.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason
also Breloom to come and deal them as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh yes, Breloom with Knock
Punch away.
Breloom instead of that Sawsbuck.
Oh my gosh. Well, don't get me wrong.
Breloom can get Thunder Punch to deal with that Mega Aerodactyl.
Oh yeah. But the thing is that, look, I get it. Sawsbuck is a sexy pick right now because Battler X and the GBA is making Sawsbuck work. But he's making Sawsbuck work at the expense of trying to win a game.
Exactly.
And that's the truth.
Pretty much.
There's a difference.
I'm gonna blow it out here real sec. I actually used the Breloom in an Uber's battle. It paralyzed an Yveltal, like literally. First turn arrows out, paralyzed the Yveltal. Literally. I'm not lying.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, the Parahacks were real.
Let's move on to the last match here, though. Ghost versus Ice, I believe, is the last match.
I think so.
Yep.
In this match right here, we see Jet's Lever coming back once again, getting 2 kills with Gengar, kill with Chandelure, kill with Doublade. He loses the match, but it was a much better match than the last week. He loses at 5-6. Go over to Perfect Blue's side. We see Mammoth Swine putting in some work. 3 kills, 1 death there. Kills from Weavile, Kieran Black, and Frostlass.
I like how there's a low-key mistake on the Ghost page.
What is the low-key mistake on the Ghost page?
Perfect Blue's type is Ice, and it says Perfect Blue's type is Ghost. And it
Yeah.
says Jets type is ice when it's ghost.
You know, I had to fix that earlier on the results page. I should have looked over and checked on the individual teams
Yeah.
page. Whoever whoever edited that one in.
And
didn't
mammal swine
check.
spelled wrong.
Well, it happens to, if you drove
Rip.
one afternoon on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, anyway, guys, we see this right here. First off, I was very proud of Jets. Mega Burnett actually pulled off a Destiny Bond this week, and it actually worked this week.
Taking someone
Which-
down with it.
Which maybe I should have taken a lesson from him, because in my last match against Ghost, I failed with the Destiny Bond. It was the fire type who failed with Destiny Bond, but that's a different story for another week. His Gengar put in work. The biggest issue that I saw, and Vampire, you probably saw this too, Hoopa. Hoopa,
Yeah.
you do not switch in for Hoopa. And not only that, if you're gonna have Hoopa on your roster, you have to sash it,
Yeah.
because Hoopa's fragile and too slow to scarf.
And has
So-
quad weaknesses, doesn't it?
And has
Like two
quad
of them.
weakness, 2 quad weeknesses,
Yeah.
to where you
Dark
have
and bug.
Yeah.
and to where you have got to sash Hoopa.
Yeah.
If you do not sash Hoopa, you're killing him off.
Yeah.
So, that was the issue right there. He switched in for Hoopa and lost him on, and free lost him on, and Amon found himself in the same spot.
I will
That's-
give it
that's
to Blue though. Blue's a really good. Blue's proven himself to be a pretty good battler. To be honest,
Oh, he has.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's be honest with you right now. There are no bad types, but there are some types that are easier to work with, and Ice is a very hard team to work with.
Absolutely, you need to like. It's I think one of the more limiting types, just in terms of you don't have very many off types that you can bring with it.
Correct. You have a lot of dual water. You have a lot of
Mhm.
you have some dual. You really don't have dual mons that really take away your weaknesses, if that makes sense.
We have some that add
You
them.
have. Oh, exactly, exactly, and that's really where it makes Ice interesting. I'm not going to say bad, because it's not bad. It's interesting, and the thing was, Perfect Blue, going into a Ghost match, Weavile and possibly Sneeze Isle are coming, and he brought
Mhm.
both of them, and you know what? They weren't even his biggest threats in the match.
Well,
He was able to make Mammoth work against that Ghost roster. So
which is really
props
scary, because Mammoth Swine, it's a threat in general, but against
Yeah.
Ghost, but it was because knockoff, right?
Oh, exactly,
So, I don't
exactly. It was different for sure. The Chandelure play by Jets was interesting. Was that Chandelure focus scarf? Sorry, choice scarf.
I think
was it scarf?
so. I'm not positive, but I think it was.
Because that's obviously the right play in that situation. You want to scarf your Chandelure because you need to make sure that it's going to hit first. Because Chandelure's special attack power is off the charts, and you want to make sure that it's going to land those
Yeah,
attacks.
energy ball, flamethrower, focus flash, shadow ball.
No, I was talking about just its base stat power, but yeah, exactly. There was better play this week from Jets, but it still wasn't enough to overtake a guy who's done the research on his type.
And that's what
And that's
I
what
think.
it's going to take.
That's one of the things. Again, that's the scariest thing in my opinion. You can have the strongest type in the world and the weakest type in the world, and if the coach of that weakest type understands their type to the fullest extent of their type, and the person with the strongest type, doesn't, that person with the weaker type is going to be a much bigger threat, because they're going to know, they're going to know exactly what mons to bring, how to bring them, what moves to bring, how to play against that other type. So it's scary.
It really is. It really
Yeah.
is. But
It'd be
that's
real
kinda,
difficult setting up for a type like that.
that's kind of what happens, and the fun thing that obviously MVP of the week is Slurpuff with the 6-0.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, no questions asked. No other Mon came anywhere close. I think the next best Mon in terms of actual kills, there were several that picked up 3, but no one else actually went, that hardcore against a team. The real thing that's really been interesting for me to see in these matches is just what it takes to actually be successful, and that's what you really got to work with each and every week. You've got to put the work in, you've got to do the research, and you have to know. You have to be willing to have a backup plan and a contingency in place.
And
the most important, and that's just what it takes, guys. It's what it takes, and we're seeing that every single week, and it's awesome to see.
And it's really interesting to see, and we're going to see in the future weeks, I think in both conferences, the people who are going to win are going to be the ones who understand their type. You can go up against one of the best battlers, and if you understand your type better, you have a much better chance to win. So
yeah,
and I mean,
I'm starting to get used to using steel a lot.
There's some really good matches coming in week 3 for the MCL. And I don't want to spoil anything, but Ice's week 3 match, it's going to be a good one.
There's plenty of good ones. Let's put it that way. But guys, this has been a fun session, but I think we've made this video long enough for this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, basically an hour. Let's call.
Well, yeehaw seesaw. I'm living on AKA Warfare 120 with of course my host for this video, which for some reason I'm doing the outro. So Vampire, take over your own show.
Yeah, guys, this is an outro. Check out their channels. Everything is important will be linked in the description. My beautiful Celtic background music. And
I love it.
I do love it too. I mean, it's some good Celtic background.
Sign you off.
Anyway, I've been Vampire218. He's been Commander Burgess, and he's been Levinot, aka for War for 120. Please make sure to check out their channels and stay tuned. Subscribe to everyone to see more of the stuff. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Bye.